Indestructible Gaming. Select your character. Musket Shot. Mr. K. Let the battle begin. Get ready for a battle unknown. 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to Indestructible Gaming and more. I am Musket Shot. Alongside me is my co-host, Mr. K. Mr. K, hello.
Hey, welcome back to a brand new episode.
Ray. So this week we are talking about a game called Traption Bakery.
We're making bread.
Or trying to. This game is developed by John Prestige, and it is published by Proper Boston Interactive. And this is a brand new game. It just came out, actually, the 1st of October. So it's pretty cool. And we got a little bit of a head start to try this game out. Thank you, John.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Allowing us to do that. So it's really, really cool, fun game. Very unique and very different, and we'll get into telling you a little bit about that. It looks like Proper Boston does have a website, and this game is on Steam. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. It is on Steam, so you can purchase the game now if you'd like. There is a website for Proper Boston, and I'm not even sure if I might be saying it more like the Boston way, as like in Massachusetts, but it might be. It doesn't end with O-N, it ends with I-N. So Proper Boston might be the more proper way of saying it, but I'm not sure. But if you go to their website, properboston.com, there is another game on there. Besides talking about Traption Bakery, there's another thing on there called Who's Making the Tea? And I guess you kind of put some colleagues or friends and family's names in, and then you pick one of two games, Pointer of Misfortune or Ace of Spades, and these two things will kind of randomly choose somebody to make the cup of tea or make a pot of tea for everyone. So kind of funny.
Interesting.
Kind of cool. So Traption Bakery is a PC game. It is on Steam right now, like I said, and I don't know if there'll be if this will go to any other platforms right now, but this I think will probably be just a PC game for now. But we'll see. Who knows? Maybe there'll be other opportunities for this game to go to consoles as well. Mr. K, you want to tell a little bit about the gameplay?
The main thing of Traption Bakery is figuring out how this giant, what was this person named? Rube Goldberg machine, right? That was just Rube Goldberg?
Rube Goldberg.
That's what it was. We were trying to figure that out last episode, but we got it. But but this machine is like a Rube Goldberg machine, and Rube Goldberg machines are basically one thing that could be led into another with mechanical ways, like a candle being under a rope, and then the rope being under the candle will catch flame and break, and then that's going to lower an anvil. It's you know what I'm saying? It's going to just continue, and eventually it'll lead to something either significant or, in this case, making bread.
Mm-hmm.
And your main goal is to figure out how this machine works, not make it, but find out how it works with the help of looking at the machine by zooming in and zooming out with the mouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's when John sent us some information about the game, he kind of he told us that it was a bit Rube Goldberg and Heath Robinson, and I've heard of Rube Goldberg, but I wasn't familiar with Heath Robinson. But I looked up Heath Robinson, and basically both were very similar as far as drawing cartoons or sketching cartoons or drawings and basically showing, how to do maybe something simple, but like in a unique and different way of doing things. Like Mr. K was saying, kind of, lighting a candle and putting it underneath a rope that burns and snaps, and then that goes to something else and knocks something over that triggers something else to happen or whatever. Well, I was playing this game on Twitch, and I'll make that available on our Twitter page. But if you're interested in seeing some of the gameplay, you can go to our Twitch site as well. But I kind of mentioned that this sort of reminded me of the game Mousetrap, where you had to kind of set up different things to do certain things to catch the mouse at the end of the game. So it's kind of similar to that. Yeah, and you mentioned when you're looking at the different things, you're zooming in on the mouse or zooming out to basically look around.
Yeah, and zooming in is a major thing that can highlight objects for you that you couldn't see before by just looking at it normally.
Yeah. And we should mention that when you start the game, you're in it like almost like a living room or something like that. And the game really is you zoom in on a picture frame where this picture resides, and like a Rube Goldberg type picture, and it's got all these different contraptions and all these different things on there. And like Mr. K said, your main goal is to figure out how to make this bakery machine work so that you can bake a loaf of bread for the orphanage.
A nice loaf of bread. It's a simple one.
Yes. So, and there's a lot of the game is very much, I think, more of takes place in London or England. I won't say London, but I'll say England. There's a lot of British little information and terms in the game. You'll see, stuff written in pounds instead of dollar amounts. There is an item in there. I'm not going to tell you what the item is. You'll have to play the game if you're really interested in the game. But there is an item in the game that I'm pretty positive I know what it is. And I'm not sure if you caught it, Mr. K, but it's an item from a very popular UK science fiction show that has been around for a long time. You might see something that looks familiar, but it's, and all the drawing is hand drawn with pen and ink, pencil and ink type drawing. And then I think he sent us some information on how he made the game, and I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. What I got to read was pretty interesting though. And, he used a computer to kind of put this on to the computer, his drawings, and copy it into the computer and stuff like that. And also, using the picture frame and taking a picture of it and copying it into the computer so that it would look like it's on a wall and stuff. Pretty interesting stuff to what he was able to do. And it's a pretty unique looking game. It's very much a puzzle game if you like puzzle games. There's no time limit to this game. So one of the things,
just look at it and fidget with it until you can figure something out.
Yeah. One of the things he mentions on Steam, I think it's on the Steam page, is that you can pretty much, he mentions that, you don't have to do it all in one shot. You can do it for 10 minutes, give up for a little bit, come back, do it for 20 minutes, do it for, an hour, whatever, You don't have to play this game for hours on end. You can play a little bit at a time and just kind of get to it. And I think it kind of makes sense that way because there's just a lot to take in. There's a lot to look around at and zoom in on and try to figure out how, a contraption works. One of the contraptions work. And you have to almost kind of zoom in on it, look at it and go, all right, where do the hoses go that are attached to this thing? Or where does this, what does it do? And then what is the result of this when it works? And how does it affect the other stuff around it? So you kind of have to do a lot of that where, if something starts working, you almost have to zoom out to see, okay, what is it actually affecting around it?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of levers and pull cords and rotating wheels and stuff. Items.
In terms of interactivity, it stays pretty simple.
Yes.
Doesn't go absolutely crazy that you get overwhelmed.
Yeah. A lot of stuff that's interactive that you find and that you can use will basically, like a lever or a wheel or a cord or something like that will be highlighted in blue. So that's when you can actually interact with that item. You can either, you point the mouse at that item and then it becomes like a hand and you can, pull it, turn it, whatever it is that you have to do for that item. The music in it is really good. I like the music. What do you think of the music?
It's not my type of style, but I enjoyed it anyways.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you have the option of stopping the record by interacting it with the mouse.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a record player up on the top of the tower where you kind of start. And you can, put the needle on the record basically, and you can have the music playing. There's a volume control that you can control, and you can have the music louder or softer. And if you don't like hearing the music anymore, you can go back to the record player and pick up the arm and take it off the record. Yeah. So there's a lot of different interactive things in this game to touch and play with. So it's different. Have you played a puzzle game like this at all in your
I'll be
gameplay?
Honest, I'm not. I haven't, but I'm not one that typically likes puzzle games.
Mm-hmm.
They're not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I like doing different things at different times.
Yeah.
So it's different than what I'm used to. Mm-hmm. But overall, I thought it was enjoyable.
Yeah. And I kind of look at it as a game too, where, if you like those types of, the puzzle books and stuff like that, where maybe you got to look for different things and, try to figure out certain things. Like I don't like word problems and stuff like that from, math class. Those drove me absolutely bonkers. But, something like this where you're trying to look at something and see how it works. And then, okay, how do I make this work? And then what's the result going to be? And how do I get this? One of the things is you get grain, you got to make flour out of the grain. Well, it's pretty easy to figure out how to get the grain early on, but then to try to get the grain machine to work and to grind the grain so you can make flour and stuff it took a little bit of time to figure that out. There's little tricks to it. There's little things that you got to do. And sometimes you got to do one thing that triggers something else to happen for some other thing to start. And then there's a certain, maybe a lever or button you've got to manipulate and turn to get the grain to start being ground up and things like that. So, and then it pours into a certain thing and you have to adjust that so that it empties in the right area. And so there's a lot of that type of stuff to do. You have to really sort of pay attention to certain things because you can overdo certain certain things, what you don't want to overdo, certain like certain weights or certain measures of certain of like grain or the dough or something like that. So there's a lot more to it other than just, turning everything on and stuff like that. And
yeah,
like you said, you have to zoom in and out of a lot of things. Sometimes you have to really zoom in close.
And sometimes you can just get achievements from them when you're on Steam.
Right. Yeah. Now there is, I will say that there is some helpful video hints on YouTube for this game. So, if you were purchasing this game and you got stuck, you could go to YouTube, and there's some helpful hints that'll kind of get you going in the right direction where you can maybe stop it and go, all right, let me go back and see, or you can watch the whole video and say, okay, this is what I got to do, and then maybe move on. So it's definitely a challenging game.
Yeah, it's definitely different than a lot of the other games out there that are puzzle-like.
Yeah. It's not like you do one thing and then you move into a different level. It's all one drawing, one painting, one piece, one artwork in a picture frame on a wall. So, once you're done with it, you're probably done with the game, and I don't know if you necessarily would play it again. I'm not sure. Maybe you would, but I think it's an interesting game to play with somebody that likes puzzle type stuff. My wife and I played for a little bit the other night, and she was kind of, I think, not sure if she really wanted to try it or play it, but when she started sitting with me and watching and trying to figure out how things work, she was pretty hooked and interested in trying to figure things out. She'd be like, all right, move over here, go up there, click on that thing again. What does that do? All right, go out. And she's very fascinated with trying to figure out puzzles and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun for us to sit and do it. So I think it'd be a good game for a couple people that enjoy this. Is a multiplayer type game. It's not really even a multiplayer game, it's a single player game, but a couple of people could sit and work at trying to figure out this puzzle together. So I think that'd be a fun game for a couple that like doing that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So there's a lot to the game's really, it's kind of tough to tell you really a lot about the game, because I think it's one of those games you kind of have to see it and play it to really understand it. And I don't want to give away a lot of the stuff in the game, because there's a lot of little things to see in this game to really appreciate and enjoy. You can certainly tell that John took a lot of time in this game in creating this and coming up with a unique idea and putting a lot of his passion, like you always say, Mr. K, putting a lot of his passion into this game. You really can tell that this is something he was really, keen on making and coming up with something a lot different than what you normally see for puzzle games.
It's interesting.
It is. And I think, it's not only just, a video game, but it's also, I don't know, I also kind of look at it too as a piece of art that comes to life. So it's kind of cool.
I can understand where that's coming from.
You kind of playing with a piece of art to see it come to life. I don't know, and part of it too reminds me of, I don't know if you ever remember or seen the cartoon. There was a cartoon back in the 60s, I think, that used to be on in the morning, 60s, early 70s, that I used to watch every once in a while. It was a cartoon called Tennessee Tuxedo, and it was a penguin and a walrus that talked, obviously, and they were in a zoo, and they'd always want to come up with these different wacky contraptions and stuff like that, and they would always see this professor who would do all this stuff and write all this stuff on a chalkboard, and then the stuff would kind of come it would animate on the chalkboard, and it would show it how it was going to work. And I don't know, part of this kind of reminds me of that a little bit too. I don't know. Maybe it's so maybe that's another reason why I kind of really enjoy this game. Any other comments or information that you want to give about this game?
No, I think that's all from me. That's all. Yeah. Pretty much covered all the bases.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's your final take on the game?
I thought it was very imaginative from John. You can tell he put a lot of work into this, and it shows. It really does. I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not a puzzle gamer. I don't play much puzzle games. I'm more of a platform fighting action.
Yes.
Pretty much. I pretty much like all games except for puzzle. It's just not my thing. Don't take the game wrong for that.
Yeah.
The game is very good. I still had fun with it, even though I didn't get very far.
Yeah.
I'm not good with puzzles.
Yeah.
But I still recommend you can go on Steam and try it out. It is fun. But if you're someone like me that doesn't like puzzles, maybe it won't be your deal.
Mm-hmm. But
definitely check it out on Steam. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I'm a, like we've mentioned it before, I think, on this show, that I'm kind of the opposite of you, where I'm not as good as platform type games or bullet hell type games and stuff like that, where you are a little bit better at that type of stuff, and that's more your thing and maybe not mine. This is a little bit more my speed in the way that it's, there's no time limit. There's nothing, if I don't do something right, my character doesn't die. I don't have a boss to kill, or I have to shoot the boss 18 times to kill him and stuff like that type of stuff. So it's a very laid back, relaxed game. You're just, playing with a puzzle to make it work. And so for me, this was a pretty enjoyable game. I liked it a lot. If you're a person that loves doing that type of stuff, and maybe you're a casual gamer or puzzle fan, I think you're really going to enjoy this game. And I think I highly recommend that you try it out. I don't know what the final cost is on the game, to be honest with you, on Steam, but I don't think it's too expensive. So
it shouldn't be too much. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's something to add to your library on Steam, and give it a shot. So out of on a scale from 1 to 5, I'll give it a 4.5. And I think it's a great buy. So kudos to John and anybody else that helped them create this game. I think it's a great game, and I wish him a lot of luck in the future with this game and future other games. All right. So what do we got, Mr. K, next week?
So next month, or in speaking in the future, this month, since this episode will be out probably a couple days after September ends. So we'll be in the month of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that going, we're gonna have all of that month be Halloween games. So we've looked on itch.io and Screw Attack. I mean, not Screw Attack. That's a YouTube channel. Haven't watched them in years. But Game Jolt, we are going to review a game called Loveland.
Okay.
And that's a game where you play as an unknown detective going into a cult-like place called Loveland Cove. It's a trailer park. And we have to investigate reports of cult-like behavior.
Okay.
And this looks like a PS1 game, which I love a lot. Not only because it can run my computer, but I love the aesthetic of old games. It looks cool.
Okay.
It's different than what we're used to. This is by Dev Hour Games. So as our first game of Halloween, we'll all see you guys next week screaming.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not too much. So, well, that'll be cool. Yeah, I think it'll be fun for the month of October to play a bunch of like horror-esque type games. So, and there's a ton out there. There's a lot.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of indie type horror games out there. So certainly not difficult to find them. It's just what's difficult is to try to narrow down what you really want to try and play, because there's a lot of different good ones out there. So it sounds interesting, though. I can't. Looking forward to playing it.
Yep.
Okay.
All
well, that's all for this week. And so thank you for listening, and we hope you tune in next week.
Stay indestructible, guys.
Thank you.
Peace.
Game over.
Hey, it's Mr. K here. Hope you enjoy the show. You can listen to us more on Spotify, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. And you can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. All right, guys, stay indestructible. Peace.